Welcome back to the Links Golf Club podcast, everybody. Your weekly live show about our wonderful club and the world of golf. This week, we break down the biggest stories in golf, recap the latest from the Internet Invitational, which we are frankly obsessed with, and then most importantly, unveil the 2026 Spey Bay event schedule. We know people in the comments are sitting down with their calendars right now, getting ready to convince the people in their life that they should take another Scotland trip next year. So we're excited to talk about that. And we have a super special guest here. We have Bert McKay, the illustrious GM of Spey Bay. He's going to talk about this schedule with us. How's everybody feeling? How y'all doing?
It's exciting times.
Yeah, so excited to have Bert on the stage. Seen him a little bit this year already across the pond, but really excited to hear about 2026 as the weather cools off here in the Northeast. Definitely thinking about next summer and playing more golf.
Yeah, it's nice to look at summer months and just kind of picture what that looks like rather than what it's like outside, for sure. Yeah, Chris, how you doing?
Not gonna lie, things have been better over in the Bruce household. We're a little under the weather over here. Voice is a little froggy. We've got the big thermos of hot tea. We'll make it through the podcast. But, still excited to talk Spey Bay events, still excited to talk Internet Invitational. Just hopefully the voice can stand up to it.
We appreciate you gritting it out. It's like a round. You have your warm up. You don't feel like you're quite there. Maybe you're hitting the ball a different direction. You still got to
need a gritty performance today.
Yeah. We're going to need
gritty
you to throw
podcast performance. Yeah.
Just get the ball over the plate. That's all we're looking for.
Honestly, it kind of felt like the flu game. You got quote tweeted by Portnoy this week while you were sick. I mean, just shooting for the stars. Was not expecting that when you're saying you're under the weather, but congrats on that.
Yeah. So speaking of the Internet Invitational, my most viewed tweet ever, some random comment about an incorrect comment about a Georgia Tech t-shirt. Turns out.
For sure. Speaking of performance, can I just ask the question right now? Is Gregory elite at golf? I shot a 67 on sim on Saturday.
Wow.
6 birdies on the back. Had a double on the front and still shot a 67. It was Mammoth Dunes. It was 6,500, 10-foot gimmies. So let's not go crazy. But still 67 for me. I mean, I've only broken 70 on sim once. So it's crazy. I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but there's at least a 10-shot difference for me inside and outside. My lowest round this year outside was a 77 on a similar distance, but obviously no gimmies. But 67 on sim felt great. Shot at 89 immediately after that on a different course, but a 67 felt pretty good.
That's really
unstoppable
nice.
On the sim.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Just,
we're coming. We're
you're
coming.
You're just putting a lot of training in for this Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I wish it flashed in the Ryder Cup and not now, after when it doesn't matter. It would have been great, but instead of getting my ass kicked by every person I played in Scotland.
He's ready for the indoor golf season for the winter. He's peaking for that.
100%. 100%. Well, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here, Chris. Why don't you tell us about Gemini?
Yeah, well, hey, we've got a couple of Gemini-related notes today because if you have not seen, we had some exciting news this past week. The Lynx token is live for trading on Gemini, on the Gemini exchange, which is super exciting. Big step for the Lynx coin, the golf coin. But as you've heard us mention before, we also love the Gemini credit card in these parts. Today's podcast is sponsored by the Gemini credit card, the only instant crypto rewards credit card on the market. Today, you get a $200 sign-up bonus in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or 50 other cryptocurrencies. And the card is great. We've talked about it a bunch on here before, but you earn crypto back instantly on purchases. You get up to 4% back in crypto instantly, on a bunch of different categories, 4% on transportation, 3% back on dining, and the list goes on. So it's been a great product. We've loved using it so far. The credit card is an easy way for you to get exposure to crypto without ever having to kind of buy it or on-ramp currency, and you can dollar cost average into things. It's really convenient. You can do it passively just as you're spending with your credit card on your normal life purchases. So it's been a really convenient thing and kind of a great way to level up in your crypto purchases. And as Coop is showing here. Bitcoin rewards earned and held for a year on the Gemini credit card have appreciated 176% on average. So you're investing as you spend, which is awesome. It's truly a no-brainer. So we're excited to have them sponsoring the podcast. To sign up and to learn more, head to gemini.com/linkstyle. You can sign up, get your $200 in crypto as your sign-up bonus when you spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. Learn more, see all the details, check it out, and make sure you're authorized to sign up at gemini.com/linkstyle. Excited to we've been moving around on a few of the different ad reads, but excited to get back to Gemini, and it's a timely thing with links being listed for trading this week, which is super exciting.
Yeah. Can I do my segment?
Yeah.
Three
What'd you get?
purchases this week. One, the Dubai cookie. Have y'all heard about this? It's the viral cookie that's just taking the internet by storm.
Dubai chocolate.
Crumble. Shout out to Crumble, not a sponsor, but huge Crumble fan, because you push a button on an app, you pay a certain amount of money to exchange for the labor and the cost of materials and the delivery for that cookie, and then you just get a cookie. I heard about this Dubai cookie. I don't like chocolate, but man, fantastic. Check that out, your local Crumble. Reach out to Chris if y'all want to be a sponsor of the pod. I'll wear it on a hat. Like, I'll wear Crumble here. I'm open. And then I also got a new pair of Premiers. Going to be playing some golf here over the next couple month or so. So got a new clean pair of Premiers. It was a nice little discount on the Amazon app. So those are the two big purchases of the last week, and I earned Bitcoin for both. So looking forward to earning more and watching.
Were you inspired by the Burnerverse to get the Premiers? Was that what came in?
I think I inspire the Burnerverse, honestly. I think they probably look at what I'm doing and they're like, we got to tap into that guy's energy. He's shooting 67 on sim. We got to get to where his level is.
The shoes matter a lot indoors too. That's a really good point.
Sure. You got to look good to play good. That's what I always say. Thanks.
Absolutely.
For allowing me space to operate in the offense there.
All right. Gemini.com/linkstyle to learn more. And what else you got for us, Coop, before we move on to the week in golf?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is links live on Gemini. I want to, roll through that a little bit more. It's the first golf coin that's tradable on a major exchange. It's the first community coin tradable on a major exchange. There's been a lot of chatter about brand coins and other things that go along with it. We're really, really excited here at Links to complement our memberships, first blockchain golf membership, with a fungible coin that you can trade. And so with that, we're going to be rewarding folks who hold the Links coin in our Discord next Wednesday with a millionaire drawing. So if you hold 1 million Links coin or more, you can verify in the Links Discord, and we're going to spin for prizes such as golf balls, free rounds of golf, Links hats, like the cool one I'm wearing here in multiple colors, all types of stuff that you might need going into golf season. We might even do something from the pro shop to keep you warm, like a Links beanie or something like that, as the weather cools off here. So get your Links coin, hop into the Discord, and become a part of the Links community. It's a really great way to do it, and just stoked on that front. It's a big milestone for us here and for all of you, right? We're on this journey together. And then I do want to shout out the Stack system, which is our preferred speed training aid here at Links. We are doing the speed challenge. So if you have a stack system, get your baseline in by the 15th, which is coming up hot. That is this Saturday. Report your baseline in the Links Discord, and we will be doing a competition for the highest percentage gain over your swing speed. So low swing speeds are welcome. You actually get a little bit of an advantage for whatever percentage gain you're going to get out here. But we did it last off season. It made huge gains. We all, I think, dropped into the single digits this year in handicaps after doing the stack system, which is a big thing. There's some
causation or correlation there, I think.
We report, you decide. It's going to be a good time for the stack system as well, which is great. And then I do want to give one last shout out to the Tree Farm and Golf Breaks. We have our event coming up, the last signature event of the season, down at the tree farm in Aiken, South Carolina. If you and 3 friends want to go, we have 1 foursome remaining. We expect those slots to fill up pretty quickly, but if you want those to make that trip this upcoming weekend, let us know. Hop in the chats, head to the events page. I'll drop the link here and get your chance for a $2,000 Golf Breaks vacation package, which looks like it's going to be a really, really cool promotion for that event. So I know Chris, Greg, you guys are going to be there. I think I'm going to miss this one, but it's going to be a great time. I'll be very jealous of everybody who makes it out.
You'll be missed. We also got Sweetens coming up this next week, so that one's sold out, but super excited. We got a bunch of people from across the country coming in to little old South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. So I'm excited to see some folks haven't seen in a while and play some golf. We got some good stuff. The season might be over for many of us locally, but there's still good golf to play for sure. Speaking of good golf, let's talk about some golf news here. Bert, feel free to jump into any of this stuff as well. Just going to touch on a couple of noteworthy stories. Ben Griffin, my guy, won the Worldwide Technology Championship. Good to see that he was still alive because he just wasn't used in the Ryder Cup at all. But good to see him win the WWT, the biggest company you haven't heard of, based in St. Louis, but just played great. I think it's cool again in the off season, like in a tournament where there's not a lot of names you're really rooting for. He was a guy that I wanted to win, and he stepped up and won it. So it was good to see. Any y'all check it out? Any thoughts on the WWTC?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, it felt like we were hearing about Ben Griffin all year long, basically. Like, he was just showing out, winning tournaments, and then completely kind of no-showed a little bit, or wasn't showed by the captains one way or the other in the Ryder Cup. It was a little bit of a lull, and then now we're back to tournaments. He's just back at it, on schedule, I guess. So, showing it's not a fluke, and I expect him to be back this year. But cool to see, retaining his spot up near the top of the tier of top players in the world. So good setup for next year, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he gained a full half stroke on the field, a full half stroke compared to the person who came in second, which is a pretty good showing. It's one of those events where they don't have full breakdowns of stroke gain data, unfortunately, so it's kind of hard to tell where he excelled, but just composite overall, that's a pretty big showing. And he's now the 8th ranked data golf player in the world, and 12 in the crooked WGR. So pretty good to see.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the Optum Golf Channel games. Another new just kind of thing that popped up on the radar. I think just they're afraid of the Internet Invitational at this point, just trying to do everything that they can to get some of the youth's eyeballs. But the Optum Golf Channel games, Rory and Scottie, there are going to be it's like a team rapid fire competition. Rory's team is going to be Shane Lowry, Haotong Lee, Luke Donald. A little bit of scratch in the back there for the Ryder Cup captain. Scheffler is going to have Sam Burns, his best friend, Luke Clanton, and Keegan Bradley. So we got captain on captain violence here. We got 2 of the best golfers in the world. The 5 challenges, a time drive competition. Sort of a big miss not to have Bryson there, but sure, this is a PGA Tour situation. A time short game competition, which I'm most excited about. Hashtag short game king. 14 club challenge, a time shootout, and captain's challenge featuring Rory and Scheffler. So, interesting. They're trying stuff. We talked about last week. We want them to try some stuff. Y'all excited? Not excited? How are y'all feeling about this?
I think anytime you get to see Rory hitting it against Scottie, it's going to be a good time, regardless of what format it's in. And the fact that the Ryder Cup captains are getting the chance to maybe settle a couple of things, then look, I'm all for it.
I hope Keegan punches Luke Donald in the face when he walks out there. Just stand on business right away.
Some violence, like hockey. Just throw it on the gloves.
I'm sick of Luke Donald's handsome face just succeeding. I need something to change.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the skills challenge, right? Having these guys go up head to head in some of these shots, right? Having to use limited numbers of clubs. This is some things that we play, at our clubs, different types of events, and seeing the pros operate, and hit shots with unorthodox club selections, driving and making specific shots. Like some of the most viewed content I think I've seen is, Tiger hitting sand shots just in practice rounds and like how they think about that kind of effort. So I think this is going to be a great, exhibition for folks to kind of get behind the scenes and maybe, like we were talking about previously, compete with the Internet Invitational and get some, more personality and action with these players in a different format.
And I'm sure, the viewers on the Golf Channel and the USA Network are going to really drive that point home. I'm sure. December 17th, it's going to be live. We'll see what this is like, but hopefully they get a little bit more of this stuff out on YouTube and not just hold it back. But maybe it'll be on Peacock, which I'm sure everyone can dust off their subscriptions for that. But I'm excited.
I love the idea, and the format sounds cool and interesting and different. But I have to say, I feel like I'm pretty plugged in on like golf, professional and media happenings. I had never heard of this literally until I looked at the agenda for the podcast today.
You're welcome.
Had you guys heard of this before? But did you just see the article come up, or had you guys known of this?
Great.
Was it under a different name?
All golf news.
I found out about it researching the pod. I'll hand up. I'll say that. Yeah.
Did you have wind of this before? Yeah,
I heard of it like literally 2 days ago. To be fair, obviously the DP Tour, obviously the guys had just been using the new TaylorMade driver, and Rory had been hitting it so far. He drove 2 par 4s. He was hitting it so much further than you've ever seen him hit it. And because of that, was getting a lot of media coverage. And then off the back of that media coverage, we then saw this event kind of coming out of nowhere. But literally it was on X today that I learned more about it than anything, to be honest. So the last 2 days, 48 hours on the most.
Yeah, wild that it just like kind of materialized out of nowhere. Something that feels like a big move, like
this is the problem though. Like why, how do we who do a weekly golf podcast not know about something that all of us would definitely like? Why do I have to watch it on the USA Network? I don't get it.
Maybe that was their plan. Guerrilla marketing is kind of, under the radar. Totally. Then we get talking about it. And here we are talking about it.
Yeah, that totally works on the internet.
Free impressions.
That and Crumble just doing work here. All right, DP World Championship this week. Bert, how big is the DP World Championship across the pond? Like, it's not something that obviously we're sort of sickos and I'm going to be watching it, but is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Like, what's going on there?
A decent field, in fairness. Rory shot 10 under final round. Played some unbelievable golf. Aaron Rai, the kid from nowhere. And I was actually texting you today, Greg. He's playing with a 7-year-old driver.
Yep.
Hit basically 100% of fairways. He's playing with irons that are a couple of years old with iron covers on them. He's got 2 gloves. He's the most quirky guy out there. But when you look at his stats, this mega shoot, like you can see him playing Ryder Cup in the future because he just hits so many fairways and greens. As a foursomes partner. But yeah, really good coverage. It wasn't a very well attended event, I would say. And even Sky Sports was saying that, like, if you were ever going to go to a DP event and you want to get close to Rory, Bob McIntyre, and the bigger European names, they were all there, but the crowds were 1, maybe 2 deep at most. So a great viewing, great golf course, some great coverage, in fairness, and the golf matched it.
Yeah, is it something that's like, is it on in the clubhouse? People are showing up and watching it there, or is it like just kind of something people are paying attention to?
Again, just that Rory, Scottie Scheffler effect. Every time Rory pegs it up and he's playing well, you're going to watch it. Fair. He got on a roll on Sunday out of nowhere. I think he had, was his 6 birdies in a row? Don't quote me on that, but it was at least 6 or 7 birdies in a row to shoot 10 under. At that point there, if you're not watching it, you're switching it on and you're changing the channel, and you just want to see what Rory is best. Tommy Fleetwood, yet again, having another good run at a tournament. I think all the top European boys are playing. You're watching it. There's no question.
Yeah, and Patrick Reed. Don't forget Patrick Reed was there.
Oh,
big deal for us. You have to squint down the leaderboard to find him, but he's there. All right, a couple other items, and then I want to have a little bit more of an elongated conversation about what's happened on the Internet Invitational, which again I'm obsessed with. PGA Tour announced new event in Nashville next year. So we're gonna get 2 new events. We're gonna get the good Open or Invitational or Championship, whatever they're calling that. And then a new event in Nashville, sort of tied to the Biltmore Estate, which is awesome. If you don't know what the Biltmore Estate is, look it up. Largest privately owned property in the United States, I think. Quote me on that, even if I'm wrong. But it is awesome. It's where they filmed Richie Rich, the movie from our childhood. And shout out to Rory Culkin and Macaulay Culkin. And then, but a new event, like we'll see. I mean, again, trying new stuff, seeing how this works. I don't know much about this golf course, so I need to do a little bit more research there, but excited to see a new event pop up on the horizon. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, cool to see a new venue. I feel like we'll probably see some more of this too, right? We talked about some of the sponsors are rotating out or ending their sponsorships, and that's going to mean, tournaments moving around or whatever. So I'm guessing this won't be the first, but be cool. New city, gets to see some pro golf, which is fun, and see a new venue. I also don't know too much about the course, but always good to see something different, add a little bit of variety in the schedule. All for that.
Yeah, I have some friends in Charlotte who were really excited about this news, right? Get up there and hear great things about Asheville as well. And yeah, always cool to see some changes on tour. Obviously, it's not the match play event we were all hoping for to be added or replacing the Dell, but this is definitely, I think, going to be a good one in a cool area.
For sure. Next up, we can choose not to touch this because Phil's been a little persnickety on the Everything app over the last couple of days.
That's going to be my choice, I think.
Yeah, Phil in trouble again. We'll put a link in the show notes. You can read all about it. But guy just seems to continue to get attention for all the wrong reasons. Would love to know what Grant Horvat thinks about this. Obviously, I'm sure they'll touch on this the next time they play together. Front 9 on Grant's channel, back 9 on Phil's channel, of course. But yeah, any thoughts here? Or we can absolutely skip this one, but just thought it was noteworthy enough to bring up.
I mean, my main take is like it's just one of those situations where like I'm sure there's just so much you could go down a big rabbit hole, and I chose not to go down it. But yeah, just seeing the headlines and all the chatter about it, it's kind of one of those truth is stranger than fiction kind of like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. But
I mean, it's one of those. It's also like these stories, like there's a lot of recency bias. Like obviously the stuff that came out in the NBA and the gambling a couple weeks ago, then earlier this week with baseball, pitchers were basically proven to throw balls to for like $1,000. Like it's just like one of the most confusing things is like, how much more money do you need? Like, why are you doing things that and obviously people's situations probably dictate some of the circumstances, but man, just feels like an own goal that's completely unneeded across all this stuff. But much more positive. Let's talk about the Internet Invitational. I don't know, Bert, how much of this you've watched. We've now devoted like portions of 3 podcasts in a row to talk about this, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Episode 5 might have been the best one for me so far, just golf-wise. To kind of recap, this is a YouTube thing put on Barstool and Bob Does Sports. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. Even if you have preconceived notions of Barstool or Bob Does Sports, or if you're a golf purist or a bow-tied golfer, Anon account who only wears premieres, like whatever you are, like this stuff is fascinating, even if you don't enjoy it. And I think it's some of the best golf stuff that's been put out in the last year. They've continuously whittled it down. So episodes 4 and 5 have happened since we last talked about this, and they're down to 12. No spoilers, but the 5th episode they played on the par 3 course over at Cedar Lodge. It was still alt shot, and it was just carnage, just like absolute swings and who was leading. It was a stroke play situation, and they had 4 teams of 3, and they cut the bottom 2 teams at the end of it. They could make these 10 hours, and I think I would watch all of it. These are still like 2 to 3 hour episodes, which is a lot. And I think the final is releasing on Thursday. I believe there's just one more. but just like continues to get better. It's not getting stale to me. I think the golf in the episode 5 was the best golf yet. Again, no spoilers, but like no surprise, Brad Dahlke's an absolute dog. And like a lot of people are, even after like some of the personalities that we loved in the first episodes sort of got cut. Again, no spoilers, but now we're just getting to like really good golf, and it's super fun to watch. I agree with Christos that like the biggest winner of this might be Big Cedar Lodge, because I'd always heard about it, but I definitely want to show up now.
Yeah, well, maybe first question, Bert, have you been watching, or are you up to date at all?
Absolutely. So, the only reason, like, I'm over here, like Dave Portnoy, one bite, everybody knows the rules. Like that, he's just a legend over here. So the fact that he's out there playing golf and with all the other guys, and it's funny because I was with the juniors the other day, just down at Spey Bay, and they're like, Bert, can we not get this on the TV? So like they are all mad into this. They love it. Now, in fairness, there's obviously Paige and a few of the others are in it, so I understand why the younger guys are into it. But in the same vein, yeah, it's good fun. I think like it's we can all relate to the golf they're playing, as opposed to sometimes watching the DP or whatever. You can't relate to somebody hitting it 380 yards, but you can relate to somebody topping it and leaving it at the bunker and talking trash. And yeah, I've been pretty glued to it. I think it's been really good.
Does is your son into it? Like, is this on his radar? Like, does he watch a lot of golf in general? Like, tell me what his experience with this has been.
He would watch the 4 majors, watch the Ryder Cup, but this is up there. I mean, like, he watched this 2 nights ago, put it on TV and sat and watched the whole episode. So, I mean, he watched it. We've actually had it on in the clubhouse as well, just because some of the young kids have been in playing pool. And they're quite happy to watch it as well. So it's just a different form of golf. I think it's exciting. And the thing is, you've got to remember that most of the younger generation right now are watching everybody that's playing. They follow them. I mean, I followed it purely because one bite, everybody knows the rules. Like, and that is just the standard thing. Like my friends are over in New York recently, and they were taking pictures, and I was like, oh, you need to go to Sal's because he gets an 8.4. Yeah. So like it's that is
Pizza.
The deal.
Beautiful language.
I've been watching it, and it's pretty cool, to be fair.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I was talking to a guy yesterday after my round in the bar, and he was like, I've never once it came up vis-a-vis I forced the issue because I'm obsessed with this, and he was like, I've never once watched YouTube golf, and I explained it to him, and he said exactly what you said, Bert. He's like, look, I'm a 16 handicap. Like I kind of feel excited to watch people who are like me rather than just feeling inadequate watching Rory hit the ball 500 yards. So he's like, I'm definitely going to go check this out. I don't know what YouTube is, but I'll report back. So we're getting the word out, not that it needs it, obviously, but this is great. Coop, Chris, have y'all followed up on episodes 4 and 5? You up to speed? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, checked out the latest episodes. I think that the cliffhangers, like you said, is a huge winner here. I mean, what a cool arena for a par 3, golf tournament. It's just an awesome spot. Paynes Valley, obviously we've heard a lot of things. We had some Links members go out and play it. I don't know if you guys have been out there, but like, I want to go now. I think that's really cool. My remaining critique, and I think it's gotten better with these last 2 episodes. The first couple episodes did a lot of establishing the characters and the drafting and a bunch of that kind of reality TV drama. The past 2 episodes felt like they've been more golf and less about the, off course stuff, which I appreciate. I think that, it's good to establish that up front. That's what some people really want to see, but I'm glad that it's kind of getting into form, and I'm honestly really excited for the final tomorrow at 6. I think I may even watch it live. Like, I think that it's probably like, we talked about the death of appointment television, but like, this is one of those zeitgeist moments, especially for the world of golf, that I think you have to tune in for.
Sure. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, watched every minute of both episodes since our last podcast. Definitely still enjoying it. I do think you were saying this latest episode was your favorite. I think I'm probably in the other direction. I feel like, well, in particular, so they moved to stroke play alt shot for one of the 2 rounds in the latest episode, right?
Yep.
Which there's drama within that, but I think it created a little less drama because there was separation at the end, and it also meant, just realistically meant we were watching a lot of missed putts, lots of missed short putts, which I don't think that's what everyone is tuning in for, even if some of them were dramatic or whatever else, right? But if I were to make some tweaks, right, just like stick to the match play that it delivered really well on all the previous rounds, and I think lends itself to creating dramatic finishes and stuff like that. I think what they were adjusting for is there were 4 teams and they had them all together, and that was cool too. But I don't know, it felt like it dragged a little bit there.
I think it's okay for this to be your first bad take on the pod. That's okay, and I'll leave the space for that. That's all right.
That's fair. That's fair. The other thing, which is just like a natural piece of it, but it does feel like as the field has whittled, you just have fewer characters and there's a little less juice. And, I don't know if this is overly reading into it, but the view numbers have gone down, every episode. That might just be because they've been out not as long, and so people haven't gotten around to watching them or whatever else. But could be because, Grant Horvat, one of the biggest, YouTube golfers out there, isn't there anymore. And so his, followers aren't there anymore, that kind of thing. So I don't know. But those are things that, like, if they're thinking about next time around or whatever else, those might be things to tweak. But overall, still been a ton of fun to watch. Similarly, looking forward to the finale and see how it all plays out. And they've been talking it up too. I've just been following along on social, so I'm expecting some sort of drama and excitement at the finish, which should be a fun go. But yeah, it's been awesome to have some other golf competition in our lives, especially at this point in the year when some of the pro tournaments are a little slow in this time frame.
I think, at some point you talk about the drama that's coming up. Somebody's going to have to take one of Portnoy's bets. Like he's going to design like an offer you can't refuse kind of situation, right? Like he's 0 for 4 or whatever on these offers. Like that has to come up in the finale. I think the last one, I think there has to be some type of guarantee because people are like trying to play for their teams and whatnot. But that has to be what plays out here in the finale.
Yeah, my guess, if I were to make one, is that he does that at the very end when it's just the individuals, and therefore they're more kind of apt to go for it. Like, bet on themselves, don't have to worry about spoiling it for their teammates and that kind of thing. And then that's like the big money moments, right? So I feel like we might get a big, win $1 million for yourself if you give up your winnings and play the last hole again type of thing or whatever else, which would be fun. That'd be great content.
Sure. What if this whole thing is actually just a tie into Squid Game, and from here on out one person dies every episode? They just start picking off people. If you don't accept the bet, the stakes rise.
Make a deal with YouTube.
That would be a turn.
They inherit their YouTube subscribers. I think some of them might actually take that deal.
Sure. It's a dog eat dog world out there.
Is there anyone that competed that we haven't seen post over the last 2 months? Maybe maybe there's some alpha out there.
Yeah. Well, there is one, unfortunately, but that's a different situation. I think another thing is, like, it was fascinating in the beginning of the episode for them to like talk through fairness. I think one of the things other people tweeted about this, but it was disgusting how many people, when asked what their handicap, they were like, I don't know, I'm like a 3 or a 5. Like, there is an exact number to that question. That question is opening up the Gen app and saying what your handicap is. And the fact they're like, I'm like between a 2 and a 4 and what, like, no, you're not. You are exactly.
I had the same thought.
To a decimal point. A certain handicap is established by the United States Golf Association or the RNA. So that was kind of confusing. I've noticed, like, they're integrating a little bit more ads. They're doing the co-pilot thing on the range where you like ask for what your wedge warm-up should be for a par 3 course. I think it's funny is, like, as much as we talk about commercial load in like professional golf, I want more ads. Like, give me more. Like, I don't care. Like, this stuff is so good to me that I'll watch even more ads just to see it. I think
but on that quickly though, I mean, there's something to be said for like inline, like integrated. It's not really organic, but you know, it's like integrated into the content advertising versus like what's the gripe that everyone always has about watching a PGA event?
Sure.
It's playing through, and you know, the ad is 2 times the size of the
Yep.
screen, and it happens at like a crucial moment when someone's making a really big shot or decision and you can't see it or hear it, or
Yep.
you know, they cut to commercial and you can't see it or hear it, and like this is way better than that, I would say.
Yeah.
And so there's not, I would say there's not like, you may make fun of like the Copilot usage or whatever, but it's, yeah, as you should, but it's, I would say that's still way a step above some of the stuff that we see in kind of traditional advertising, or, you know, kind of integration of the stuff. Right.
Yeah, let me take a sip of this high quality coffee mug brought to you by the Pro Shop. Got links down up. I know. Organic. A couple other things I have. I have the opposite view of Chris. You know, right or wrong. I think the putting on the par 3 actually made it a little bit more dramatic because they were really, really feeling. And I think like part of what was fun about it, and I've been in events like this, that like everyone being on the same hole, I think was cool. I think it just meant that there was like more personalities. I think it's a reality TV show, so they're trying to get as much of the personalities in one place as possible. It was easier to follow. I think that did a good job. And then I've done like kind of a full turnaround on Portnoy, like regardless of personality and other things out there, whatever. I went from like someone that I like mostly ignore to someone that like I want to be the commish of every single sport. Like imagine him on the field during the Super Bowl and he's just like talking shit. Like it adds value. I don't know. Like I don't know if I fully believe that take, but I'm getting there. It also struck me just like shooting content. Everyone being mic'd up is insane. Like it finally hit me like with like every single person is mic'd up and the storage space and everything to make that happen. It just makes me even more impressed to pull this off. Everyone is also nicer than I thought. Like I think that was one thing that Dave showed them part. They weren't talking a lot of shit. They were being pretty nice to each other. I think they were all feeling the pressure.
That was my other takeaway from this last round too, is there was less chatter, less less going on. People were zoned in, which made it maybe a little more boring or less kind of to talk about and consume. But yeah, people were definitely locking in a little bit.
Yeah. I think the most chaotic person, right, in the not the most recent episode was the cameraman who, you know, was driving through the fence and like pulling people's balls out of the water. Everyone else is like really focused, and right, it's the staff now are kind of the wild cards.
Yeah, for sure. My only other note, I think in the future I would lean even more into the reality stuff. I would do more like interviews, you know, like you know, maybe some challenges, like just I think that's the part that's working the most for me right now, rather than just watching people play golf. So I would do even more of that. Cool. Anything else on that before we jump into the Spey Bay event schedule for 26?
Really, I agree with Chris. To be honest, I love the match play. To be honest, it kind of gives the vibe of like a traditional member guest with flights. And then, you know, you've got the last flight coming up. You've got everybody, because you want to see
everybody following.
Everybody following. You want to see everybody around the green with a cocktail. You want to hear it mic'd up, and you want to hear exactly what they're saying. And then you hear the individual bets between them of, oh, he's going to hit the green, he's not. And then you see them come down. I'm a big fan of the match play. I would drop stroke play tomorrow. Purely because the handicap golfers, you know, nobody wants to watch double bogeys, triple bogeys, winning holes. Like there's no fun in that. Whereas it's a win or a loss. But I kind of would like to see everybody around the greens a little bit more, hearing a bit of that chatter as well.
Fair. That's fair. I think the thing that made it interesting to me was like, not spoilers, but like one team got pretty far behind and had to claw their way back. And I think that would have been much harder. Obviously they can do that in match play and they wouldn't have been as far down because they would have just been one hole down versus like 4 shots down, and had to like do some insane stuff just to be able to basically stick around enough to get in the top 2. So there's not as much of a penalty for just like a blow up hole. But I get what y'all are saying. I like match play more than stroke play in general. So if they can figure out a way to do what y'all explained, I would be in favor of it. Cool. Let's get to it. We got some news to unveil here for the first time here on the pod. Brought to you by Crumble Cookies. Just kidding. But for the first time in the entire world, everybody is going to be able to see exactly the dates for the 2026 schedule. This is the third year of a full event schedule since we took over Spey Bay, and each year sort of just continues to get better, right? Like the first year, obviously we had the first event where, you know, it just recently opened and a bunch of people descended in Spey Bay and got to experience what it was like in person. Then we started actually having an event schedule, different types of events, each, you know, very different. So there's sort of something for everyone to get you across. And then last year obviously just continues to improve under Bert's leadership and the team. So let's kind of just first maybe talk about last year and just like recap sort of what went well, what can be improved, how that kind of influences the schedule this year. And then we'll talk about this year's schedule. We'll go event by event with the dates and then talk about what comes next.
Yeah, maybe I'll kick it off and then hand it over to you, Bert. But I think in terms of last year, you know, as you said, Greg, we've kind of learned each year, evolved the schedule, evolved the event types, and, you know, we're trying to fit it for what fits best for the membership, which has people from all over the place, right? Local folks participating in the events, people flying in from all different parts of the world, looking to do different stuff as they're coming to visit. So I thought we've over time, we've kind of, I would say, developed some kind of anchor events, if you will, or some that, you know, have developed into, I think, really, really good traditions for the club, which has been awesome to see. And then, you know, we've still like trying to figure out, okay, is there anything different or new we should do or whatever else? So like this past year, we had 4 events, which I think was down from 5 the year before, but we had the member guest, we had the summer solstice, we had the club championship, and we had the Ryder Cup. And this Ryder Cup, the most recent one, we had a bunch of content out. It was a blast. I think it was, you know, our biggest event. We sold out well in advance of the event and everything else. Ton of fun. Definitely would call it kind of one of the signature things or one of the biggest traditions that have been established. But yeah, I think overall, like this past year's event schedule went really well. Like it was, you know, I know the 3 of us were at a mix of them throughout the year. We all had a ton of fun. I think everyone who attended had a ton of fun. So yeah, I mean, the question is, okay, well, how do we tweak that, you know, evolve it towards something even better for next year? And so we're going to have some stuff that's the same as the old and some that's new, and, you know, see if we can't make it even better for this coming year. So with that, I mean, I don't know, Bert, if you had anything to say about last year's schedule, but otherwise we can probably just start walking through what next year's going to look like.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. I mean, I think we could just jump straight into it purely because, you know, a lot of the people that were there enjoyed it. And I think that we're just trying to put more emphasis on having this community where people can, you know, ultimately everybody comes to play golf, and that's the first and foremost reason that we're there. But I think that what we tried to do this year was open up people's eyes to seeing that there's a little bit more in the area, tying in with some local businesses. You know, we had dinners down on the river, we had some games nights, we had a Highland Games. We did, you know, there was almost as much emphasis put off course as there was on. And I think that's the kind of the fun stuff. People don't tend to go to golf events and expect to get all the other elements that make it a fun weekend. And that's the fun thing that we're doing at Spey Bay. Because as much as we all love golf, there's a limit to how many times you can keep going around a golf course. And Cooper, your limit's 100 holes.
I've got a pretty high threshold there for going around. It's a really fun golf course, man. Like you can play it over and over and over. But yeah, you're right. It's cool to have all the accessory things, and it's such a great area right around Spey Bay.
Absolutely.
And that is worth dwelling on, maybe just for a second, just as a reminder. So like last year, or just think of all the kind of non-golf stuff that was included in some combination of these events. So we had, whiskey tastings from, obviously we're in the Spey side, or, just at the mouth of the Spey River. So that's the Spey side region of Scotland, the largest, Scotch producing region in the world. So we had whiskey tastings. We had dinner on the River Spey at what is, Bert, you know better than I would, but what is one of the most renowned fly fishing locations in the world.
Absolutely. Well, the king learned how to fish there. It's the Augusta of salmon fishing is where we were. We were pretty fortunate.
Yeah. So that wild, and I know folks have come in and done some fly fishing adjacent to the events and everything too. We did Highland Games at the Gordon Castle, which is just down the road from Spey Bay. So this is like traditional Scottish competitions, doing it like literally on the lawn in front of a historic castle in the Scottish Highlands. So really just incredible stuff that's added, that's been a part of these events, not just the golf, just to give everyone a flavor of like what you might expect to come this year and future events, or the other stuff we're talking about as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So, well, should we run through the events? Do you want to unveil what the first event of 2026 will be?
Let's do it. So the first event starting, and this one's a little bit of a different one, right? So let's talk about the first one that's coming up in May. Coop, do you want to pull up the events page here so we can go through the schedule? There we go. Yeah, Bert, tell us about the Showcase Pairs event.
So yeah, ultimately, I think that the reason that we were talking about what we're just talking about, we're trying to showcase what Spey Bay is, where it is, and ultimately what we can do. Like, we're trying to do this as a showcase. So whether this is, and this first event is a little bit unique. We're allowing some visitors, we're allowing members to play with members, we're allowing 2 guests to play together. But this will bring some of the elements of the highlights, if you want to call it, come into play in this. We would love, I think in year one, we looked at doing the old school member guest in a flight system. In the UK, that's not a normal style of event. And we've learned from that. We learned that we had to adapt and we try and change it. And I think everybody's enjoyed the fishing. They've enjoyed the whiskey tasting. They've enjoyed all the other elements. And I think this one here is going to be the showcase event. So we're going to open up May 22nd to 24th with a showcase of Spey Bay, where ultimately it's going to be a pairs format round the golf course. There will be nearest the gin, which has now become a tradition at all of our events. There will be some skins games in the afternoons. There'll be, elements of other things, and we're not going to reveal all our hands just now, but I think that it's an exciting event to kick the year off. We're going early in May. The weather consistently has been particularly good early season for us. Knock on wood. And we've only actually seen the first rain in the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks. So early May, we're very excited to kick it off with the showcase. Really trying to ultimately, as we say, show everything that we can do to upsell Spey Bay in the area.
This one feels like a really good one. Like, obviously the concept of the member guest was, I'm a member of Spey. Like, I think about like my brother-in-law, right? Like, that was kind of one that we always circled, was like, it just conceptually makes sense for us to come over there and, maybe there's some competition, but it's more or less like first trip to Scotland, see the area, everything. Like this still feels like a really good one to bring a guest to, right? Like, you get to, it's probably going to be if the other end of the spectrum is like the Ryder Cup, which is all about the competition and everything else. Like, this seems kind of is it fair to call this sort of the chill one? It's like, if you haven't been over there yet, or if you haven't brought your friends yet, this is a good one to go to, or like kind of what's the target for this one?
Absolutely. And look, I think for a lot of people that are coming over to Scotland for the first time, and I've advocated it to Chris and to Cooper and to everybody that comes over, I want you to go fly fishing. I want you to do whiskey tasting. I want you to do all of these different elements. And May is a nice time to do it. May is not, you're not arriving in St Andrews in July looking for a tea time. You're coming in May. We can bolt on a number of things. It's going to be easy to get fishing on the Spey because it's just slightly out of season. The season's going. We could get you doing some very bespoke whiskey tours. We can get you on some of the other golf courses locally a little bit easier. And May is just a nice time of year to come to Scotland because really it's the kickstarter of the golfing season and the tourist season in Scotland. So for me, if you've never been to Scotland and you wanted to get on some of the tier 1 golf courses and you wanted to try some of the exceptional things that we have in our area, May is the time to do it because we've not hit the July, August, September boom. So I think that you can put a very cool trip together. And I think it's going to be a lovely, lovely event. And again, as I say, yes, we're here to play golf. There will be golf prizes. This is a very social event that's just going to be a relaxed environment. This is not if you want to play competition golf, Ryder Cup is going to be the event for you. This is going to be, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to chill, we're going to have relaxed dinners, and we're just going to enjoy the area of Spey Bay and Murray surrounding.
Awesome. Yeah, that one sounds really good. And I think it's, spoiler alert, this is the one that's changing for next year. But the intentionality and sort of thought behind that based on what y'all learned last year, I think makes a lot of sense to me as someone who is going to try to go to as many of these as possible. Let's talk about the next one, the summer solstice, bringing this one back. This has been a very popular event throughout. I went to it 2 years ago. Coop ran it back this past year to do 100 holes back-to-back years. I wasn't able to make it this year, unfortunately, but I hope to next year. June 19th, 21st of 2026 is when this one will happen. Why don't y'all tell us about it?
Again, the Friday's going to be all about golf. You're going to have 18 to 20 hours daylight, so you can tee off at 3:34 in the morning, finishing at midnight, and play as much golf or as little golf as your heart's content. So the Friday is very much about experiencing the longest day and more daylight than you've probably ever seen, unless you're in the Arctic Circle. You're going to see some pretty spectacular stuff. I know that I came into work, I think it was about 3:00 in the morning of the solstice, just before Cooper. Now, in fairness, Cooper, you were late teeing off. It was like 3:34 by the time you teed off. But the sunrise was spectacular. The weather was great. I mean, it was just so benign at that time of the morning. And, okay, David and a few of the greenkeepers get to experience it, but as golfers, we tend not to be playing at that time of the morning. So I think the Friday is just going to be a lovely event that you can come up and play as many holes as you want to play. You don't have to play 72. You don't have to play 36. You can just go out and play 18 and then play a couple of holes. We close the golf course for people that are coming. So there'll be no other golfers out there. You can jump around, play a few holes, play it with 2, 3, 5 clubs, whatever you want to do. But then on the Saturday and Sunday, so the 20th and 21st, we turn it into a 4-person team event. Our friends at Turnberry sponsored it the last couple of years, and they're continuing it again. And this is no plug for Turnberry, but I think it probably is one of the best open venues on the rota. It doesn't have an open just now, but I think that it's a criminal offence that it's not, because honestly, it is just, I think, the best course on there. So they're in line again. So a very cool prize of playing the main course at Turnberry, night's accommodation, and then playing the second course, Robert the Bruce. So the Ale Sand. So it's a great prize. But again, that event is where we will probably do something off-site on the Saturday night. Again, we're still in talks with a couple of people. But again, that event is yes, there's a lovely prize to play for, but I think, again, you're going to enjoy. Last year, we were down at the River Spey. Chris mentioned it. We had some seafood down there from Fraserburgh. We had a whiskey tasting down there where Louis conducted. We had some fishing lessons where the king got to fish and the sun was setting. And even if you were not a fisherman, I think you could just appreciate the surroundings as a cool place to finish a lovely weekend.
Yeah, this one, I feel like we always talk about it in the context of, the 100 holes and you're playing so much golf and everything else. But I think it's also like, even if you're coming, I know like Wally and some other folks that, didn't come and play 100 holes on that Friday on the solstice, but I think this is my favorite time to be there, just because you have so much daylight. If you want to play golf at other venues, there's just so much time to do it, right? I remember when we played Royal Darnick a couple years ago, and we teed off at 4 p.m. or whatever it was, finished easily, playing in like golden hour basically the whole time. You can start early, you can start late, you can, it just gives a lot. Or even if you aren't planning to golf a ton, just the atmosphere, hanging out on the water, still light out at 11 p.m. There's so much more you can do and see just by virtue of having all the daylight. And it's just, it's been beautiful conditions every year at that time as well. So I think that's my favorite time. And especially thinking of if you're planning a bigger golf trip, You want to see a lot of places. You just have more daylight to do it. You can experience a lot of different stuff, which is awesome. So it's one, I've been to both years. I think it's my favorite time of the year. Not that there's necessarily a bad time to be over there.
Yeah, +1. I mean, when I went 2 years ago, I think Coop, your flight was delayed like 4 hours, which would have been just death for a match. And we still were able to go out, like pick him up at the airport, drive to Cruden Bay, tee off at Cruden Bay, and have 100% sunlight until like whenever we finished at 11:30 or whatever. So it's just, if you want to maximize the amount of time, like that's such a good point. If you're planning on doing this, like you have lots of options, even if you're expanding beyond that event before or after. You can easily play 36 holes a day and have more than enough time to do other things as well.
Yeah, it's incredible. You don't have to make it an ultra marathon experience. Although if you're like Greg and training for a half marathon or something, you want to see how many holes you can play. It's a great time to do that. Somebody can carry the torch for me. I will not be making it this year, unfortunately, but somebody needs to pick up the mantle and break that 100 mark. But yeah, it's just a great hang. You can see here in the videos, like we've got the osprey nest out. There's just all types of great hangs happening around the course. There's so much time to go and do anything you want to do in Scotland that time of year.
Yep. Great. All right. Well, let's turn the calendar to July 10th through the 12th. The club championship is the third of 4 events for next season. Let's talk about this one.
It's just a traditional stroke play club championship event that you will get, and this is as pure as it gets in golf form. It's going to be 3 rounds, stroke play golf. What we'll be doing this year is because obviously the first round's on the Friday, second round Saturday, third round Sunday. A few of the guys would play on the Friday, then go and play an evening round at maybe Cullen, or they'll maybe go and play at Nairndon Bar. On the Saturday night, we will be having a barbecue this year. So we will be getting people out mid-morning on the Saturday, having a barbecue Saturday night. And that would be open for all members. You don't even have to be playing in the tournament. We just like to try and see everybody down, having a bit of fun and relaxing. So, but again, that is the more traditional stroke play. So there'll be for ladies, gents stroke play, gross and net prizes. And then on the Sunday, we roll out the juniors. The juniors then play at the back of the field, and they play for their club championship against gross and net. So a very traditional golf event that rewards the best players. There'll be no frills with this event. This is very much about the golf. Other than a barbecue on the Saturday night, this is just a golf event.
Who's the current champion right now?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I literally was about to look it up on my phone. So I know that we have Dot Phillips and Linda Mayer for the ladies. We have Josh Cruikshank and Max for the juniors. And now you're really testing me. I know Scottie Burgess is the gross. I can't think of the life of me of the net. I wish that you'd primed me with this 10 minutes ago. I could have looked at it.
That's my bad. But I think, but there hasn't been a international member win the championship in the last 2 years, right?
There has not.
So that's like a big thing. Like, hey, international members, if you are thinking about going to one of these events, get over there and let's get us some cred. They took our Ryder Cup. This trophy, we talked a little bit about it in videos, but it's a special trophy, right? Like it was donated by Prime Minister. It's very old. It has a lot of history to it. You get your name on that. It's people are saying, I'm not going to say this, but more important than the Open, that little cup they have that they replaced the Challenge Belt with a couple 100 years ago. But this maybe is the second best thing. At least that's what people on the internet are saying. I
have heard rumblings that that's
so.
The case.
It's a big deal. Like if you're a member of this club and you want your name to echo through eternity, even if Bert won't remember it on the spot, someone else will, and you will be the champion golfer of Spey Bay.
It's come to me, and I haven't. It's come to me, and I haven't even looked.
I was trying to filibuster for you.
Honestly, it was Ronnie won it this year.
That's right.
Sorry, Ronnie.
It's all good.
Yeah, I I see Big Bucks in the audience here. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think he's got a Scotland trip in July. So maybe he's got to throw his hat in the ring. And none of that net competition stuff that's foiled him in the Ryder Cup.
True.
Just gross competition. Stroke play. You can put up some numbers for the international crew.
Yeah, and we gotta send somebody over there. We gotta, especially leading it. It's like winning a major right before the Ryder Cup, right? Because then we have a little bit of momentum going into the Ryder Cup. We've stolen the trophy; it is ours, and now we're going to take the Ryder Cup back. I like the way this is playing out. We'll get the the odds and the lines up here at some point, but yeah, very exciting. I mean, it's a club champion at any club is always a big deal, right? It's the thing that the stories are told. You get your, parking spot, you get your name up on the, all that stuff matters in any club.
Mhm.
But I would really like to see an American come across the pond and take that this year. So that is a personal challenge to anyone who wants to attend this event. Let's talk about last one here to round it out. The Ryder Cup is the third edition of the Lynx Ryder Cup, or the Spey Bay Ryder Cup. I don't actually know what the official word is for that, but our version of the Ryder Cup, which is amazing. August 28th through the 30th next year. Tell us about this one. This is it only gets bigger every year. It gets more important every year. The pressure gets bigger every year. What's it going to look like this year?
So yeah, this year we introduced vice captains. We had a little bit of fun on socials beforehand, where we had a couple of friends were commenting and bits and pieces. So yeah, we tried to blow it up into a little bit more of an event. Look, it's 20 versus 20, and to be honest, purely for space in the clubhouse, we would struggle to get it too much bigger. But the event itself is just a cool 3 days event. You can see, and the Coop's thrown it up there, of the Highland Games. We are awarded some points off the golf course to get us kick-started. We have the pairings announced for Friday and Saturday, and then also on Sunday we've got team uniforms. So it's close to playing a major event. This is as good as it's going to get, to be honest, for amateur golfers. I mean, I think the internet could probably, the Internet Invitational we're talking about, they could probably learn off us this event in this format. But I mean, this is cool. I mean, and ultimately, look, a lot of the guys this year had caddies, so you can see a number of the caddies at the front there. But yeah, I think it follows as closely to the Ryder Cup as we can. There's a few off-course things that we did. We opened up our putting green, our Himalaya putting green this year to coincide with it. So there was some pub games, there was some golf games. It's just a cool event. I mean, you've got Mr. Captain USA 2 years running in the chat room. I mean, Chris, it's a great event, isn't it?
Two losses though. I might have to give up the mantle next year.
0-2,
switch it up a little bit.
Not gonna lie.
But that notwithstanding, yeah, the event's been incredible. I think this is, like I said, has been kind of like the signature event that's happened at Spey Bay the past couple of years, and it's developed into that, some awesome traditions, and yeah, it's kind of very close to the Ryder Cup exact formats of 4 balls and foursomes and singles matches. And we, given the unique nature of our membership at Spey Bay, we're able to do a true US versus Europe, or, US and international teams, which is awesome. So yeah, I absolutely love this one.
It was so much fun to go to. I mean, I missed the first one. It was it's hard to explain how awesome it was. It could be like gimmicky or whatever, but it felt very real. It felt very competitive, but it also, we released a YouTube video after it. It kind of summed up. So if you're interested, or you want to know what this is about, definitely check out the YouTube video, because I think it gives a good sense of what it was like on the ground. But it's a good balance of sportsmanship, right? We competed our asses off, but we had so much fun every night, and it was over, and just getting to hang out with people who are, local members of the club that you've seen before, and you get to go back and see them again and shoot the shit and hang out and everything else. It was competitive, but it was good sportsmanship, and it was good fun. And I enjoyed it so much. I mean, I have not played in an environment like that in golf. Haven't played a lot of competitive golf, didn't grow up playing competitive golf, but it felt like a major. I mean, and the team did such a good job. You mentioned, Bert, the uniforms and all the side events and the food, and like every single thing was taken care of so the athletes could focus on the golf. And it was awesome. Like I cannot recommend this one highly enough. It's also the one that's going to sell out first. So, probably less spots, but it's an unbelievable time.
Yeah. I do want to say at any of these events, you're going to have a fantastic time, and it speaks to the excellence of Bert, David, right? The greens are going to be in great shape. The facilities and the experience inside and outside the clubhouse and on the course is as good as any golf course I've ever been to. So, credit to Bert for that. It's tremendous, but the Ryder Cup is a really, really special thing. Regardless of what you're thinking, if you're going to go to one of these events next year, or if you're planning a Scotland trip that doesn't overlap with one of these dates, let us know. Send Bert an email, stop by. You're going to have a fantastic, fantastic time. But if you haven't booked your flights yet and you can aim for one of these, like, do so, because the experience is top notch. And yeah, it's all credit to the team we have over there. So, cheers to you, Bert. Really, really excited about this schedule. But yeah, the Ryder Cup is just an elevated competition. For sure.
Well, this has been great. I'm really, really excited about the world premiere of the 2026 event schedule. So these dates, these are locked, right, Chris and Bert? Like, people can, if they're planning on wanting to go to one of these, they should start to, over the course of the holidays. You got some time to talk to the family, talk to the friends. I'm definitely going to try to convince my brother-in-law to go to that Showcase Pairs event. Definitely start to get the planning going. And then when can we expect these to go on sale? When can we expect to actually sign up for these?
Yeah, well, and actually two things. So one is just, if obviously a lot of our members are in the US. So if you're thinking about trip planning for next year, we do specifically angle for doing these around some long weekends for folks making the longer trip over. So first event, the Showcase Pairs event, is around Memorial Day weekend in the US. The Ryder Cup's around Labor Day weekend in the US. The other two, obviously the solstice is at the summer solstice time. So not a holiday. Club Championship, not a holiday. But so if you have time off on those days, want to make a trip out of those weekends, you can be thinking about that. But we are getting those dates out there now so people can start planning, and we're aiming to open them up for sale next month. So it'll be coming soon. So mark the dates on your calendar, and then we will announce the date that these go live for purchase in advance so people can prepare for it.
Sweet.
Absolutely. And the Club Championship, the Club Championship is literally the week before the Open Championship. So, I think all of these events tie in nicely. So, I mean, we've talked about the first one. Great if you've never tried fishing. Club Championship tie into your Open Championship, if you're coming over for a week, 10 days. So, yeah, absolutely. And look, as we always say, anybody that's coming to the area that's never been, reach out. We'll help pull a schedule together, be that with transfers, with hotels, with other golf, and really just use your membership with Spey Bay properly. We'll help pull it together fairly easily.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Bert, thank you so much. I know it's late over there. Thanks for jumping in and talking about a whole range of subjects. I mean, you're such a Renaissance man. We can talk to you about anything. I'm just really happy to have you. Views of this podcast always go up when you're here, so we're always very grateful to have you on the roster for these. And but also thanks for putting so much thought into these events, and for making them available to our members everywhere. We are very excited for 2026 as golf ends in 2025 for most of us, depending on where you are. Can't help just start peeking around the corner at next year, and super excited to have these on the radar.
That's only because it's on full-time repeat in the clubhouse, Greg. That's why the numbers are going up.
That's fair. My individual Crumble sponsorship is coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. All right, cool. Well, that's it for this week. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening. Remember, check out Hillcrest memberships. Check out Instagram and YouTube for Hillcrest and Spey Bay updates. We've been putting a lot more content, whether that be history of Hillcrest, history of Spey Bay, featuring different holes. We're trying out a lot of stuff based on feedback that we've gotten all the way back from the census earlier in the year to feedback that we've gotten in Discord. So we do listen to all that stuff very closely. And if there's stuff that you want to see about our glorious club or Hillcrest or Spey Bay, those things will be available on Instagram and YouTube. So make sure you're following. You got the bell rung and subscription turned on. You can always hit us in Discord or guest ideas, hot takes, or feedback. Just make sure you're following the pod. Leave us a review, and we will see you next time. Appreciate it, everybody.
Give this video a like. See the Easter egg that YouTube planted down there.
The golf ball. Yep. Thumbs up. Thanks, y'all.
Love it.
See y'all.
See y'all.
Take